of the things you had to change to get there? And now, can you show me your high performance state? Like, what do you have to do? So what are some of the things you had to change to get there? Okay, but what about physiology?
My shoulders are back, and so is my body, and my weight is on my right when I'm at a peak stage.
Okay.
Body weight. And I breathe much like you, like from my stomach when I'm at like. So I learned it from you, breathing from my stomach. So
Okay.
I breathe from my stomach when I'm at a high performance stage.
You breathe from your stomach, okay. Sure. Why don't you, if you want to share, just raise your hand, someone pass you the mic, and then start talking.
So for me, the major changes in the physiology, bringing it back, and then I could see the facial muscles.
Yeah, very
being-
interesting. How many of you notice facial muscles when you're in high performance state?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there were two parts, one on this side and the other one is on the
Yeah,
bottom
lower-
side.
lower and upper.
Lower and upper one.
Very nice. Okay.
And my hands,
Yeah, if you have the
And the
mic,
legs.
you can go on.
Okay.
Yeah. And your hands?
hands and legs, both of them, it was more grounded on the surface. And then here also I was seeing a difference on this both sides.
Yeah. So when people say legs were grounded, what do they really mean? I mean, anyway legs are
Anyway on the
grounded.
ground.
It's not like
Balance.
others are levitating. Yeah, so when people
The
say
most-
grounded, they're actually referring to a combination of several things. One, they're referring to is the weight on front or back. They're referring to the distribution of it, but they're also referring to the center of their axis. I don't know how many of you know this, but when you stand, you could literally move your center of axis from your stomach to your knees to your chest, wherever it is. Most times when people say they're grounded, they mean that they've got their center of axis to somewhere here, to the core. Now, do you need to stand in a karate pose to get that? No. Do you need to do yoga to do that? No. Remember, all of those things are just training so that you become aware of what grounded feels like. But you could sit exactly where you are and you can immediately ground your weight. You all know how to do that. Yes? No?
Yes.
How many of you say you don't, you understand but you're quite not sure if you've done it? Okay, so very, very good. Maybe later tomorrow we shall do some exercises on just grounding your weight. No matter whether you're lying down, you're sitting, you're standing, how can you now it doesn't mean that for grounding you have to go like that. You could sit exactly as you are and just change you remember these are all micro, you can just change micro movements to get your grounding back. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay, what else?
And most importantly, I could feel the happiness.
You can feel the happiness.
Going to the next level. And
Yeah.
smile out.
Those are the effects. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Who else has got the mic?
For me, it was
Yeah.
like,
Go for it.
for me, like my shoulders rolled back. I was in an alert position. My facial muscles were little tightened initially, and I could feel the whole body as like I could feel my joints. Everything, and the weight balanced in both the feet so well, so that it gave me a good posture, as if the height has increased by a few mm. Something
How
like
many of
that.
you felt that? Okay, fantastic. Yeah. And do you think you just feel like your height has increased, or did your height actually increase?
And there was
Wait, it's a question. Do you think the height increased, or you feel the height increased? Yeah, it's both. Actually, a lot of times we are shorter than we actually are. And when you actually get into high performance states, and actually when you extend your body, I'm not saying there's an increase by a centimeter, but there's a small increase. You could actually check it out. It's just postural changes that. So your height didn't increase. You returned to your increased height. from where you had come down. So that's important. What else?
And then I felt like that my attitude has totally changed, like, nothing matters. That full assertiveness I could feel in my bodily
Okay.
feeling. I mean,
So, and did you, okay, superb. Sure. Very nice. Who's going next?
Yeah, so what my experience in this state was that when I came in the peak performance state,
Yeah.
there was a little bit of sensation in my whole body. I could feel that especially in my hands, in both my hands, there was
Yeah,
a sensation.
that's the effect of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, how do you get there? What are the physiological movements?
So first of all, my chin went up and my shoulders broadened and my muscles tightened, and I also felt a little bit of change in my height, of course, and my toes, they didn't go up like yesterday. They were she
They didn't curl up.
demonstrated. They curled. They went down a little bit,
Okay.
and I could see that change. And my weight was feeling much lighter.
Yeah. How many of you had that experience that when you're in peak performance state, suddenly your body weight feels like lighter? I mean, it's not like you lost weight. Yeah. Okay. Very, very nice. And what else?
And no, I have a question also related to it. So
We
when-
get to questions later. Let's
No,
just all the physiological shifts that you have noticed. Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, hi. At that time it is felt like the spine is kind of erect in a particular way.
Spine is erect. Okay.
Yeah. And there is bit of a lock here.
Weight of what?
Lock between that spine where the neck is there. The neck is somewhere up, around 20-30 degree up like this. There is bit like it may be down also, or sometimes it is maybe up also. Both the conditions in that state that neck is there. Either it is 20 degree bit up or 20 degree
Oh,
bit up.
okay,
That lock
okay.
is
So you're
also
saying
there.
that when you say it's like a
Yeah,
lock,
like this.
it feels like you're not holding it there, it's just staying
no,
there.
but that is in that natural state that
It's
lock,
yeah,
lock
okay.
is there.
So
And stomach has gone bit inside also.
yeah. You know, sometimes you feel like you're holding your neck. And how many of you have done the catalepsy? You know, you lift somebody's hands up and then feels like heavy. And then you lift it up and then you're talking to them and they're distracted. And then you let go of the hand and the hand just stays there. You can stay there for half an hour and they don't feel like, yeah, there's a strain. Have you noticed that? Yeah, and for me, the first time I noticed that was when I saw musicians play instruments, you know, or singers go with their hands like this. I'm like, how is their hands all the time like this? If I do that for 5 minutes, my hands pain. But then later I realized they're in an altered state where it's almost like as if that they don't feel the weight. And that's true about your neck as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like there's an effort to look straight or up. Sometimes it feels like it's locked in that position by itself and you don't need to move. Okay, you felt that. Okay, what else?
Yeah, and also like what she told earlier also, that you feel that you are not that
Thank you.
body is not having that weights of its own. That feeling is there. That it is not that body weight is not.
Yeah, body weight is not there. Okay, good. What else?
One more thing, Antino.
Keep going. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Antino. So what? Hello.
Let's just wait till that mic gets fixed. Go for it.
So for me, Antino, the head was lifted like straight. Straight. There was no frown. There was a mild smile on my face. My breathing was deeper. And my body was uniformly distributed between the front, like in the normal state, it was bending forwards. I mean, the weight was uniformly distributed.
Okay.
And the breathing was deeper.
Yeah. No, but the body is uniformly distributed.
No, but in
That is why the weight feels uniformly distributed. So what you're really saying is that the orientation of the body was symmetrically distributed, like to the left and to the right, to the front and the back,
Yes.
and from the top to the bottom. There was that alignment where the weight feels grounded. Yeah, very nice, very nice.
One more thing, Anteno,
Yeah.
that I experienced was that there was no pain in my legs while I was in a peak performance state.
Otherwise you have pain?
Yes, I do have that.
Where do you have pain?
In my calves.
Okay, why don't you do a healer visit like we did with Janak? Just get it done tomorrow.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So Antino,
So,
Go for it,
yeah.
Nidali.
So for me it was like 50% of the body, that lower part of my body was grounded, and the upper body part was like kind of, it was floating, and I was in a very flow state, and everything here I was not feeling anything. The upper body part, it was like kind of a floating, and I was in a flow state, and it was very yummy.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was feeling that's why I'm in a peak state, the complete my attention was centralized here in my forehead, and calf muscles were tightened, and heavy sensation in both hands, lower part of my hands. There was heavy sensation that time.
Okay.
Antino, I had
So for me, it's like when I was in that state, like body was like swaying as in a infinity loop. So once it was like going left and then right.
Yeah, so some of you might become aware of your internal rhythm. You know, we're always maintaining a rhythm. Are you aware of it? How many of you have noticed that you have an internal rhythm all the time? Can you just take a moment to pay attention to your internal rhythm right now and show me with your hand what is it like? Yeah, do it. You do, everybody does.
circle.
Pardon me? Yeah. It could be. Yeah. So see, the rhythm could be like this. It could be like this. It could be like this. There's always a rhythm. There's a It's it's going on like that.
Circle?
Pardon me?
Circle.
Circle. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What? For some people, it's in synchronous with their breathing also, but at some times. But it's not just, see, so Vasudha, if I were to just mirror you for a moment, right? Like, I just looked at you and said, Vasudha, do I mirror you for a moment? And you went front like this, you came like this, and you're nodding like this. Now, if you pay attention to the way you went back and like this, and the nod like this, they're the same tempo, they're the same speed. You didn't go... So, you're externalizing your rhythm when you're nodding and when you're swaying. But how did your unconscious choose to do it in that particular speed? Because you're already internally maintaining
But
that.
I don't feel where I'm maintaining it.
Yeah, you're not yet aware that you're maintaining that. Yeah, so that's okay. So let me create some exercise for you to do that. One of the biggest difficulty for me in can rhythm exist outside of sound? How many of you say yes and how many of you say no? Those of you who say yes, what do you mean?
It can exist in silence also.
Pardon me?
It can exist in silence.
It can exist in silence, how? Like, what is your experience of rhythm without sound?
so when I was doing the peak state, my body was making a movement.
It was making a movement, it was
Yes.
swaying, yeah?
So when I was breathing, and when you said you find out your rhythm, which I never knew, so like I started breathing, and in sync with that, I'm doing like this, something like that.
Yeah,
Very minute movement.
so you can have movements that are in rhythm. So you don't always need sound to have a rhythm. And it took me a long time to understand that. See, because when I was first trying to get my rhythm right, I used to always pay attention to the sound, and like in how many seconds is like the next beat coming, or how to count that. And I made a lot of progress, not knowing a very fundamental basic about it. I made a lot of progress because I put in a lot of time. I practiced a lot. I went to Mridangam classes. I played rhythm guitar, which is out of rhythm, but finally it started coming back. I put in a lot of time, but I failed to understand a very simple, basic thing about rhythm until I went to a guitar class with a guy called, because I did everything, I put the metronome, I put a tempo, it'll go tuck, 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 and up is my platform to learn rhythm, because every time in a high performance state, I'm like, today I'm going to crack rhythm. And some of you might have seen that I used to play like mridangam in my hands. People used to think that the mridangam helps me to deliver. No, it's the other way around. When I'm in my installation states, I play mridangam so that, the rhythm gets better, and then they support and enhance each other. Both happens. But one of those times I enrolled for a class with a legend. He's known as a father of percussion guitar, and he actually kind of plays with both the hands, and he's legendary. And when he was teaching me and I was mirroring him, I was playing the guitar and I was playing rhythm with it. And once I noticed, because I was in a meeting, so one of the things I started doing in my obsessive days with the guitar is that we would have meetings and I'm sitting there with my guitar and I'm practicing very soft, like, only I could hear, or at least I feel like only I can hear. And but it's very soft. And obviously I'm only doing it if it's enhancing the discussions and not a distraction or an interruption. And I was practicing guitar for hours, like 5-6 hours every day, because in every meeting I'll have my guitar with me and I'm playing these soft tunes. Now, Preston is teaching me percussion guitar, and those are tapping. You have to hit the guitar, like, you're making a drum sound. You're kind of making that kind of a sound. So how do you practice that without it, disturbing everybody else? So what I did is I didn't tap. My hand went till the wood, it didn't tap. And I kept practicing like that. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm enjoying it just as much as I enjoyed when I heard the sound. And then I realized it's just the movement. Just the movement was sufficient to bring back the feeling that the rhythm produced. I think some people call it as dance. But that was when I realized that rhythm can be independent of sound. And it was a game-changing thing for me, because until then, you had to listen to a sound, you had to listen to the bass guitar, you have to find out what the drummer is playing, and then you'd be like, okay, this is what it is. But now what I do is when I feel the drums, I just replicate the movement that the drummer might be making. I just replicate it, and then there's that rhythm in the body already. So rhythm exists independent of sound, and most people are always having an internal rhythm. You know why it's relevant for conversational programming? Helps in mirroring. Yeah. If you mirror their rhythm, they won't know. But it's fast. It's so fast to get into unconscious rapport with someone. Yeah. And you could look at someone's rhythm and you can say, are they in a stressful state? Are they in a relaxed state? Now remember, fast rhythm does not mean stress. Slow rhythm does not mean relaxed. You remember I said rhythm, it can exist without sound, and when it does, it always exists with movement. The quality of movement can tell you their state. Do you have a reference of where you are, or you did this yesterday? The alphabet game. So when I look at alphabet game, I'm looking at the quality of their movement. Am I looking, is there ease when they go? Especially if I'm taking people, who are already in a high performance state to a superior state of mind, then I'm looking at, is there ease? Is their hands going like that? Or is it moving? Is it like a breeze? Some of you felt you were lighter. Imagine while you're playing the alphabet game, it feels like a breeze. Your legs feel like a breeze. That's quality of movement. Improved, enhanced quality of movement. So you could use rhythm as a way to diagnose if someone is in a peak performance state. You can use rhythm to match someone else's rhythm and get into a very deep unconscious rapport instantly. There's always a sway. You just have to notice it. Now the exercise for you. We already have one exercise, right? No, we have something to do tomorrow. I have to show you how to the grounding maneuver. The exercise for you is today lead people into better rhythm, better pace throughout the day. Okay, can you do that? Yeah, catch some unsuspecting soul and feed them good food. So what you're going to do is you're going to watch people around in the arena and you're just going to match their rhythm and then get them into a better, more high performance and more relaxed state. And tell me all about it tomorrow. Okay, so if you have a question, just raise the hand. When the mic comes, start speaking.
Yeah. So Antanu, you said that rhythm helps in mirroring.
Well, what I said is, people have a sway already. You can mirror that sway.
Okay, and through that we can identify what's their rhythm.
No.
How will I identify what is the rhythm of another person? That would be by mirroring, I understand.
You could see, she's laughing. Why don't you tell him? Yeah. So, why don't you try doing it today and then we'll discuss this?
Sure.
Yeah, it's not that difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could mirror, you can also see it visually.
Certainly.
Yeah. What you're looking for is, when people say yes, when people say no, when people are responding, in what speed are they moving? And you notice that it's consistent because that's the internal movement that they are feeling.
Let me try.
Yeah.
Antanu, yesterday, here.
Yeah.
Antanu, I wanted to ask, I wanted to say two things. Number one, yesterday when I was practicing the stage shift, the eyes got fixated at one place and I realized that the peripheral vision actually expanded and I didn't feel like I have to look around everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was very much focused and the concentration had increased.
Good.
And the second thing I wanted to ask what he said, so for me mirroring is easy, but how to change the state of that participant?
You change your state. You change your state. You mirror and change your state. You remember you learned, why did you learn how to change your state here?
I thought that's for me.
Yeah, and what's for you, you can leverage for others. So you mirror someone, you change your state, they change their state.
Even though they are not mirroring me, still.
No, if you mirror them, the unconscious rapport already gets locked.
Okay.
Haven't we taught this earlier?
Yes.
See, if my glass is there and I do this, it's just my hand moving. I have to reach where the glass is. Then I can bring it here. So you are here, the person is there. So when you do mirroring, you're reaching out where they are. then you bring them where you are. That's pacing and leading. You can pace and lead using all channels. You can pace auditorily, you can pace the non-verbals, you can micro muscle mirror like you did the other day. You can use the same words. Now you're learning a little advanced form of it. You can pace their rhythm, their internal sway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for some of you, when you did the peak performance, you'd have noticed that from being stiff, you'd have started swaying. Yeah, so that's why I was talking about the sway.
Antano,
Yeah.
yeah.
Antano, so what I... Can I?
Go for it. Okay.
So I was struggling to get physiological signals when doing that exercise. And whatever I could do when I replicated, I was able to get to maybe 3 levels up on peak performance, but not all the way up to maybe 5 or 6 levels. How do I solve that?
Like your original was 5 or 6 levels above.
Yeah, my peak was about 5, 6 levels up.
Yeah, just do more contrast, like keep going back and forth.
I did, I just got maxed out, completely tired, and I wasn't able to go beyond.
I think you should play an alphabet game.
Okay.
In that state where you said I got maxed out, completely tired. Yeah, I mean this is supposed to be a fun exercise. You can't get tired doing this. Yeah, you should. If anything else, you should feel like you're on a high.
Antino?
Antino, I have a question here. I have a specific type of vibrations that comes in my body. Is that the rhythm, the message that's something there?
What vibrations?
It feels like too much of vibrations.
Like vibrations from where? Like
from
where?
inside my body.
Like.
Yes. There's some breathing pattern.
Do you have it now?
Right now I don't have it. Might be when I'm more stressed or I have some things, some change in days. I feel that vibrations.
Is
very
it
strong
bad
in me.
or good?
It's bad. It's disturbing.
Then stop it. Like,
So it's that the rhythm.
I don't care.
or
Stop
the
it.
message?
If it's bad, stop it.
So how should I
Well,
stop
I mean,
that?
we're talking about rhythm, and you're talking about some annoyance. Like, why are you trying to connect them both?
I'm just.
If
trying
it's
to
bad
see-
for you, stop it.
How should I?
You tell me.
Reframing.
Tell me all the ways you know to stop it. Reframing. What else?
Playing AG in the same.
Okay. And what else? Someone said healer within.
Healer within.
And what else?
State change. Now
State
I learned
change.
State
Yeah.
choice on
Yeah. And don't get
demand.
stressed in the first place. See, what's interesting for me is you're talking about something that's troubling you. You have zero interest in fixing it. Your question is some technical. Is
Antino.
yeah.
Yeah. Here.
Shall I?
Antino, here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is regarding my internal rhythm, which is my understanding is it is a deep cyclical breath that I'm going through when I'm more relaxed, and that is an indication of a high performance state. It's slow breathing. Now, if I
What is your question?
so
You have to look at the paper to know your question.
I know I had written down it. So
Just ask me. Look, it's your question, right?
Yeah.
Just ask me in your natural words.
My internal rhythm, I'm trying
Your internal rhythm at a given point in
at
time.
a given point of time, I am linking it to the my breath.
Why do you want to do that?
No, it is coming that way, so I understand that whenever I do AG, my breath slows down, so I feel more relaxed. So I thought.
Okay, so there are two different things. You have an internal rhythm, you have a breathing pattern. Keep them as separate for now.
Okay.
So you already understand how to notice your breathing pattern.
Yeah.
If you're happy with it, stay with it. If you're happier knowing one more layer of you, then put the effort to discover it. Don't try and muddle one into the other.
I want to understand if one can get into someone else's rhythm, even if one's not around. Because I experienced something like this.
Yeah.
And so it was, if I can quickly.
Like you had a reference of that person.
Yeah, so I had the reference of this person. I was going to meet her. And while I was going to meet her, I was almost into her rhythm. And when I went up, I actually could change her state.
Yeah.
Match her state, and then it was.
Yeah.
It was like a. Great
So
performance.
this is this. So when you start doing perceptual quotient enough, you'll kind of know the particular state, rhythm, all of those things a person is going to be in. It's a guess. It's going to be right sometimes. It's going to be not so right sometimes. But yeah, it's possible.
So I was a little confused whether I could change her state or it was by fluke. It happened like this, or so I just
No,
wanted
no,
to
you're
kind of
skilled
get
now.
in.
You're like a skilled wizard. Like.
So Antonio, does the rhythm changes based on the kind of state the person is in?
Yes, it changes based on the state they are in. Yes. Okay, so let me get to today's agenda. We have very little time for today's agenda. Today's agenda is map. So all of you are now experts with state. Is that right? You can get into peak performance state. Can you do a demo one more time? Yeah, wait. Go back to the way you were. Okay. Now this, I don't want it to be like, in army, like attendees. Yeah. Go back to the way you were sitting. Lean back if you were leaning back. Just go back to your original position. Are you there? Now I do not want you to change macro. I want you to change micro. And let me know with a nod when you have reached peak performance. With eyes open. Did you did you do that yesterday as part of your testing? Yes, you did. Okay. So stay exactly the way you are. Exactly how you are. Micro shift to get peak state. Oh my God, that's a lot of pressure on me. When you go into such peak state, I'm like going into, now I have to do a lot more. Very nice. Very, very nice. Oh, wherever I go, there's a light. So today I want to talk about, I want to build you up 2 frames. My agenda in this up is if you can detect frames, you know what I mean by frames and you can detect it in conversations. You know what is a better frame to take someone into. And if you can come up with analogies to explain that frame difference, we have achieved our purpose. Okay, but I think before we go there, I want to take you through something called as map. So yesterday we studied states. Today we're going to study maps. And then we're going to look at intentions. And then we're going to go into presuppositions. And then we're going to go into frames. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. What is maps? So now you're all sitting where you are and you're looking at the stage. The common feeling is that you're all seeing the same thing, correct? Because if there's a black color object here, you're all going to see that black color object. If there's a chair there, you're all going to see the chair. So for us as humans, we feel when 2 people or more people are in a particular place, in a particular situation, that they see, they hear, they feel, all of them, the things that are going on in that situation. That's what it feels like. At least conventionally, that's what we had learned. We had been taught. But the reality is actually slightly different. Now, what we know from studying the human neurology is that the information that is there outside of us, doesn't all of it necessarily go inside the way it exactly is. It goes through a form of deletion, it goes through a form of distortion before it even reaches our nervous system. So what you are seeing is different from the person next to you and the person next to you. Does that make sense to you? Like, although you're all watching the same stuff on the outside, you have to know that what's going inside your head is different. The sound you're hearing is not the same as the sound the person next to you is hearing. Now I'll tell you how this happens. See, in our eyes, there are more number of receptors than there are nerves to carry them back to the brain. If I have to give you an analogy, imagine there are 6 mics here, but only 3 cables to connect it back to the console. There are 6 mics, but only 3 cables. So at any point in time, someone is making a decision which mic should the cable connect to. And that's going on second by second. Every moment, there are receptors in your eyes that are being bombarded with information, lots of information. And at the peripheral level, now remember, this has nothing to do with the mind, not yet. We're coming to that in a bit. But at the peripheral, at the level of your eye, there is decisions being made. And our body is making decisions all the time of such nature. And there are decisions being made at the peripheral level of which signals are going to go to the brain and which signals are going to be discarded, because there are more number of receptors than there are nerves to carry it back to the brain. And also, the information doesn't go direct, it goes through processing. Because actually, when you're seeing the world, all the light waves are coming inverted to your eyes. Actually, everything is coming upside down to the eyes. The brain is correcting it and making it straight. In fact, they did one experiment where they gave glasses to people that would correct the waves, so that it's no longer inverted and it's straight. For a while, people saw everything as inverted, and when they were moving around and touching things, then they developed another programming in their brain that allowed them to then see everything straight. Then they removed the glass and everything looked inverted for a while, and then they were able to see it straight. So there's a lot of processing going on. Remember, all of the thing that hits the optic nerve is a 2D image. But your eyeballs, although they look straight, they look like they are fixed, they're actually fluttering like about 60 times a second. And what it's doing with that flutter is it's capturing differences, minor differences in the image, and it's computing the 3D field that you actually have when you're sitting down here. The light waves themselves are projecting a 2D image. It's the eyeballs fluttering like this really fast. In fact, they did an experiment. They gave drugs so that the balls don't flutter, and people started losing 3D vision. They started seeing things in 2D. So the things we see are processed. You know, when you watch Instagram or YouTube, is different from reality. It's processed. There are filters. It's not very different when you're seeing with your own eyes. What you see is filtered information. Filtered meaning it's deleted, it's computed. The same is true with speed. If something moves really fast, you can't see it. It'll look like it's in the same place. If something moves too slow, you can't see it. Now that again is a trained thing, because about 200 years ago, before the invention of cars, people couldn't see juggling. You know, when people juggle, most people would think of it as black magic, because for you and me now, with our eyes opened, because of, we see cars moving fast, we see planes moving fast. Now when we look at juggling, we clearly see a ball move from here to here, and from here to here it's landing. But remember, 200 years ago, when people saw juggling, for them it would look like teleportation. It will look like the ball is moving from this hand to that hand and that hand to this hand. The eyes couldn't process movement at that speed. Now there are some people who are, brought up in the jungle. They don't have the luxury of seeing distance like we do and approaching it. John Grinder talks about one such guy from a mountain, and he was like a native guy, like these tribals. The only things that they see in distance is vertical, but they can't go near a star. So they don't have the life experience of going near, seeing something far and going near it. So one of those days they brought him into this car and they were driving really fast, and he saw buffaloes far away. And for him, when they were going near the buffaloes, it appeared like the buffalo was growing. So you notice that the things that we see are actually training. It's trained. We are trained to perceive things the way we see them. There are a lot of things, including speed and changes, that we don't notice, we cannot notice, we will not notice, because we simply are not trained to watch those particular movements. That's why, magic tricks work. That's why a magic trick happens. Like, someone can take a coin, drop it in front of your eyes. In your head, you're still seeing it in their hand. It's because we only see what we are trained to see, culturally, socially, through a lot of ways. So there's a lot of filtering that happens. And this is also true not just about the eye, it's also true about the ears, it's also true about touch, it's also true about smell, it's also true about all the senses that we have. So we have to understand that there are two levels of filtering that happens. So let's say this is the stuff that's happening in the world. Let's say this is all the things that's happening in a second. Now, before it goes through before it even reaches our brain, it even reaches a neurocortex, it reaches the center of our brain. Even before it reaches a neurocortex, there is a transformation that's happening. T1, meaning that information is already lost. Now there's very little we can do with that, okay, because it's physical, it's hardwired. Now there are certain forms of martial arts, there are some forms of ancient practices that can extend this range. But for most of us it's irrelevant, because even within the scope of what we can see and hear, there's a lot more that is possible. But technically, is this possible to change this and enhance this? Absolutely. But here's where it becomes interesting. Now, so physically, there is a limitation. There's only so much you can see, there's only so much you can hear, there's only so much you can sense, and that information is coming in and it is filtered. It's already much, much, much smaller, much, much lesser than the reality. But here's the interesting thing. That still it reaches the neurocortex. But from the neurocortex into becoming a perception, into becoming a memory, there is another level of transformation that happens. That comes from our unconscious bias. That comes from our previous experience and all of those things. So you might have noticed, like, when you learn a new word, or you learn, or you see, or you buy a new car, you see that everywhere. Or when you learn a new word, suddenly everyone seems to be using that word. It doesn't mean that suddenly everybody started using the word. It means that everyone is using that word before, but you were filtering it out. You were deleting it. It's very interesting how we teach people how to do embedded commands. It's a downward intonation where you can embed a command in conversational programming, and sometime you learn how to do embedded command. And suddenly, people's ear open up, and then they go and look at all the political speeches, and they look at this, and they look at that, and they look at, arguments and lawyers, and they say, oh, people naturally use embedded commands. Until then, that was completely, they weren't paying attention to that tonal shift. But the moment they learn it, now they can see it, hear it everywhere. So there is a loss of information also based on your current training. So just because you're sitting here, for example, if we all go to a music concert, and let's say, there's a Grammy award-winning musician sitting with you, you are sitting there, there's a Carnatic musician sitting there, there's a classical composer sitting there, all of them are going to listen to that music differently. Some of you are going to hear some things, some of you are not going to hear some of the things at all, even though it is in that performance. So for a long time I couldn't hear bass guitar. I can feel the bass, but I won't be able to say that this is the tune that the bass guitar is playing. Some people don't even know they can't hear it. I've met a lot of people like that. In fact, in one of the CPM classes we did that. We actually got people to listen to a song and see what do they hear, and by the end of it they were hearing more number of layers than they did earlier. How many of you were in that batch? Okay, interesting. So remember, this is about everything. The things you see, the things you hear, the things you feel, notice. There is a second level of filtering that is going on. There is deletion, distortion of information. That comes from you. So this entire thing now is only so much. Okay, this is the reality. This is your body, your neurology filtering the information. This is based on your maps that is filtering that information. So far good. Now the interesting thing is the quality of this information is important. It's not about, okay, we only process 5% of the information we see, 5% of the information we hear. It's what is that 5%? That's very important. Because if you do not have the right information going in, then you come to wrong conclusions. You miss out on some game-changing facts. You miss out on learning. So the quality of these two transformations are state dependent. You remember why we do the alphabet game on day 3 for every up participant? Yeah, the first 2 days they have context. The third day it elevates their state, so that on 4th, 5th and 6th day they have a richer map because they are in a better state. That's what you're going after. You want people to be in a better state. If you want to tell them something important, if you want to share something important, either as an information or an installation, you want people to be in a better state. Because if they are not in a great state, the T1 and T2 will be done very unusefully. They're not going to hear you right. They're not going to see it right. You can bless someone and they might think you're cursing them. So, because remember, there is deletion of information, that is unavoidable. There is distortion of information, that's unavoidable. T1 and T2 is already happening, this is hardware. This is programming. If I don't pause between writing, it's making it cursive. So this is hardware, this is programming, and there is loss of information anyway, but you can control the quality of information and what is lost and what is retained by ensuring a great state, both for you and the person that you are helping change. So this is the person we are working with. Remember, this is one moment. Now, this loss of information comes here, and then finally what gets stored in memory is again a fraction of that, not all of it. So this T2 now becomes a dot in his memory. It's a dot. And then let's say there are dots because he lives long. You know, this is his entire memory line. Like each moment, see, this big circle has become this tiny dot. And then, you know, his memory, the hardware, the storage, the data that is stored is each of these moments for a lifetime. Now comes the interesting thing, is as humans we learn, and we learn in a variety of different ways. One of the most important functions of learning is to make conclusions. You touch something hot and you take your hand back in a reflex action, but after that you don't go and touch that again. You don't touch anything that is hot. You don't go and say, this is red color fire, maybe let me touch green color fire. Or you don't go and say, this is silver color vessel, let me try a black vessel. But you have made a conclusion. What is the conclusion? That anything that looks like fire or anything that looks like that is heated just a while before, do not touch. So that's learning. That learning happens not only when you touch that thing, that learning also happens when you're sleeping. Your brain is making new conclusions. It's making new organization. That's how generalizations happen, right? So you're making conclusions based on your experiences. So let's say something great happens today. Tomorrow you're going to make conclusions not only from what happened today, but from all the things you remember from the past that were similar to that. You understand what I'm saying? So you have memory, you have ongoing experiences, but you're also making conclusions based on your lifetime's memory. So any ongoing experience, you're evaluating it based on some of your ongoing experiences all your life. So now Alex is making some conclusions. You know, this is one part of his life, another part something happened, another part something happened, another part something happened. So based on all that, he makes some conclusions Or another way to say that is based on all that, he has some new learning. So you see how far it is from the reality? This is the reality. This is the transformation. This is a smaller set. From here, a dot is saved in the memory. Now from that entire dot, not the entire memory, but some references to the memory, the brain constructs conclusions. These type of people are good, these type of people are bad. When people do this, they're lying. When people do this, they are being honest. So there's conclusions being made. These conclusions is what we call as the map. The ongoing reality, this is just one moment, imagine many moments like that, is what the continuous train of ongoing reality is, what we call the territory. It's an analogy. Just like, you have India is a territory, but India map is a representation of that territory. Now, the reality is the map is never the territory. It's never going to be accurate. It's always going to miss some detailing. It's always going to miss based on what map it is. If it's a map of power lines, it's going to miss maybe the roots. If it's a map of navigation, then it's going to miss the minerals. So a map is never a complete representation of reality. It's a functional representation of reality. So you can have multiple maps of the same reality. Yeah, we're not getting into politics. Wait, we're just talking about even with good intentions and honestly, when you try to make a map, it is going to be different from the actual territory. If you're going to sit there and try to sketch this stage, it is going to be different from the real stage. So the map is different from the reality. Now, why is this important to know? Yeah, let's. So he says, what is true for us may not be true for others. Okay, what else?
Will not be able to reproduce 100% of the whatever has
So
happened.
for one situation, he said,
For one situation, there will be different perspective of
two
different
people, there can be two perspectives. Is one of them a liar?
No.
That's very important to know. Same situation, two different perspectives, but both are telling the truth. But they are each telling a partial, constructed truth. Okay, what else? Why else is this important to know?
We will not be able to reproduce 100% of the antenna here.
Yeah, they won't be able to, they'll never be able to reproduce 100%. Yeah. So you need to know that when people tell you things, it's only partly true. Okay, and what else?
Also the experience or what actually happened in the reality is different from what the person is able to describe and articulate through words.
Okay, yeah.
And also,
yes.
And also, when I understand the perspective of his is right, but if I show him the other side of it, then he may able to understand my perspective.
So it gives you hope that it's not a bad person, an evil person you're talking to. It's just that the person has a different map and you have the possibility of showing them a different map.
Correct. I was also just about to say the same thing, that the parameters he is considering to arrive at a conclusion. So there may be few other key ingredients which he would have missed.
Absolutely. The person might have missed some key ingredients, yeah.
In high-stake games, it's better to have multiple perspectives.
In high-stake?
High-stake games or high-stake events or incidents. It's
yeah.
better to...
Yeah, absolutely. It's you. So it puts a check on you that sometimes you may not have all the perspectives, and if it's a high-stake thing, it's good to have multiple perspectives. Sure.
it will also create different belief systems. And if we know what is a belief system, and when you understand other person, it may create new learnings from you.
Yes, you can. You recognize that these. Yeah. You could understand. So one of the things is, when people have a different map, what they believe is different from what you believe. And if you understand how they believe what they believe, you could both change it or you can add it to your own. Okay, so there are a few more things that are important. The other thing that is important is, remember, whenever a person seems to have a limitation, a challenge, that limitation is not in the territory. That limitation is in the map. Is very, very important, and I think is one of the cornerstones of neurolinguistic programming, as well as what you need to master for mastering conversational programming. You start with a firm belief that any limitation, any problem is not in the territory, it's in the map. So, someone comes and says, market is crashing, there are no job opportunities. In my head I go, lie, 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 lie. Maybe market is crashing, but there are job opportunities in the territory. No job opportunities in his map. So all that we're looking at is, how does this person create such a poor map? What must be true, and how do you change that map? Okay, now, we're not going to go and tell the person, oh, you know what, you are pessimistic. There is job even in the crashing market, because it's going to be utterly rejected. But you are going to change the process by which they came to that conclusion, because every activity of constructing this map, this part, remember this is state dependent, correct? This is dependent on unconscious process. Now the memory is already there, but the conclusions, the inference, the meaning, the judgment, the assumptions they come up with is dependent on the ongoing unconscious process. What you're really doing is you're tweaking their unconscious process. And you're not doing that with hypnosis. You're like, go to sleep. Now I don't like your unconscious process, let's change it. You're doing it conversationally. You're doing it educationally. You're doing it with unconscious rapport. You're doing it with very specific toolkit that allows you to expand. Remember yesterday we spoke about choice? We're always creating choice. We are not taking away their current unconscious process. We are giving their current unconscious process new data. We are giving their current data new unconscious processes to munch that information with. We're not taking it away, we're adding better, because people create maps, they don't create a map. You're adding a map. If the new map is better, they're not going to use the previous map. That's what you're doing. So, give me more examples of map is not the territory. Someone says, in my childhood there's no happy memory. I was always abused. I was always hit. I was always, the unlucky person. Two children of the same parents.
He has remembered only those memories have a greater impact on his life. So he remembers it strongly and tries to delete.
That's what I refuse to believe.
He tries to delete and
I refuse to believe that is the only thing that had strong impact. I feel when people say that, they also had good, strong, happy, emotional moments. They just forgot it.
remember, you can also
I don't know
say.
that. At this moment, all I know is, remember, at this moment, all we know is in the territory, they had good memories, good moments, strong good moments also. In the map, they don't have. Now, how did they delete it? Why did they delete it? Is different and personal and unique for each person. And that's the unconscious process I'm talking about. And each of them do it differently, and we're going to find out how do they do it. So that when you know how they do it, you can change it. Someone says, I'm always unlucky. Again, they are very unlucky in their map, not so in the territory. So if you start processing it that way, because see, you remember this program that we do called CTD? It's a community run program. Most of the EIS here do it. And I don't know if you know how CTD came about the way it came about. The original CTD happened because of Mumbai floods. Most of you know that. There was rain and there was floods, and people said, please don't come to Chennai. And I'm sitting in Lalit, and Hari is there. Networks are down in Chennai, so there's fundamentally nothing to do than just wait. So Hari and I say, if we have unlimited time, unlimited money, what are we going to do, Hari? And then we go to a movie. We sleep. But next day morning, we come up with this idea, let's go meet all our participants, find out how they're doing. So we just meet different people for lunch. I think we met Ketki, we met some of the other participants back then. And then I realized that our participants at that time were all doing very well. They were doing good work. They were honest people, nice people. But in the marketplace, although they had superior results, they did not have a superior positioning. They did not have a superior standing. And I said, this is the saddest thing that can happen. Someone who can speak but still sell garbage seems to do better in the world than someone who actually can do really good service. And I said, we need to change that. We need to change that. People who do good, who can do good value to the planet, must be the people who outshine. So Hari and I decided we're going to create a program just for that. And we created Close the Deal Like a Pro, partly because we wanted our community to do better, but also we wanted people who do good things. See, that program doesn't work for people who sell gibberish. In fact, we tell that in our marketing. If you sell something that is of value to people, this program will work, and only then join it. In fact, now we sell it as a masterclass for 2,000 rupees online. It's a digital product, and people are watching that and getting results. Like for example, for Mitali, I think it doubled her, 5x her, 5x her sales, just watching that. Before she came to any of her programs, she just watched CTD online, and it worked. And so that's how CTD originally started. It was a program because I knew that there is a way, because the community was coming up with all kinds of nonsense. It's a crowded marketplace and this and that. But remember the presupposition, the assumption, the belief, the limitation is in the map, not the territory. So I was like, no, they can do better. They just don't know how. So I started looking at what shift do they need, what installations do they need to take something of value and actually price it and position it well. So that's how the original CTD live event started. And then, we there was a 2D image. But your eyeballs, although they look straight, they look like they are fixed, they're actually fluttering like about 60 times a second.